Hello, it's Megray, and I'm going to show you how to build this really simple sandcastle design. And I say simple because it is simple for me. Typically, my castles are much larger than this. For this tutorial though, I tried to make one that was as compact as possible. So if you're looking for a medium to small scale castle, then go ahead and give this one a try and let me know what you think. Let's get started. We're going to start out by doing the basic layout of the entire castle, and as you can see we have 3 larger square towers in the back and then 2 smaller round towers in the front. And of course, since this is a sandcastle, I'm going to be using a lot of sandstone and then a little bit of birch for extra texture. You don't have to commit to using those blocks. You could always use stone brick if you'd preferred a more traditional look in this castle, so it's completely up to you. Now we're going to move on to the second part where we will build up the walls on the first floor. For the most part, it's tracing around what we already built, but it's going to be 3 blocks high all the way around. Once I have this complete, I'm going to go around and punch out some 2-block high windows. They can go pretty much anywhere, but the only place I wouldn't put them is in the center on the back wall, since we will be putting a staircase there later on. The next thing I'm going to do is just to map out where some rooms will go on the inside. This step is completely optional if you want rooms in your castle, and I'm just going to leave it as a single layer for now. Again, we're not going to disrupt the back center since we will be putting a staircase there later on. The next layer is adding 1 more block to the walls and then filling in the center for the roof. Now take all the time you need to get this much done, but once you have it filled in, we're going to lay out the edges of the walls. And I never knew what these were called before, but apparently they're called merlins. And that's Merlin with an O-N on the end. Right now, I'm just going to map out where they are going to go with an upside down birch stair. And I'm not going to finish these just yet until I get more of the towers complete. Once we have that done, we're going to add 1 more layer to the roof just to raise it up a little bit in the middle. For me, the easiest way to create this layer with the fewest mistakes was to make an outline first, then do the flooring for the inside of the tower, and then just fill in the rest of the space with sandstone. Now on the front part of this raised section, we're going to add 1 more layer for the wall, along with the merlins that will be attached to it. And since nothing else in the build will interfere, we will be able to complete them entirely. First thing is to locate them with an upside down staircase facing outward. Now we're going to turn around and on top of those staircases have another stair that's facing inward. Then we're just going to cover up the rest of this wall with slabs. This pattern will be repeated on the other walls as well, but we will get to those later. The next thing I want to do is to finish up this entrance. Since we do have most of the front complete already, all we have to do is fill in this middle part. Where we had those birch blocks placed on the first layer, I'm going to connect those to the ceiling and add 1 more row of birch in the front. Then I'm going to systematically place a few birch staircases around for decoration, and then a couple of sandstone stairs as well. The entrance could be anything you want it to be, but this is the pattern that I have done for mine. Okay, now that we have the front done, we can start working on some towers. So let's go ahead and start with the round towers. You're not necessarily going to see me build both of them since I am building them simultaneously, but I am showing you the layers for each one, since they are mirrors of each other and have a different placement of the staircase. All that to say, build both towers at the same time. We have 1 more layer for the wall on the towers, and then we can also add some merlins. And then again on top we're going to place the stairs facing inward, and then place slabs along the top edge. And this time we're going to overlap the corners with 2 slabs as well. Now I'm going to add some extra detail to these little strips that I have created in the walls. I'm going to add a birch stair to the top and to the bottom on each one, and then somewhere in the middle I will place a sandstone slab. And once you do it on one tower, you can do it on the other as well, since they are exactly the same thing. And on the inside, even though they're only 2 blocks high, we're still going to be adding an upper staircase for consistency. If you haven't done it already, now is the time to finish off the walls on the edges. So for each Merlin, we're going to place a staircase facing inward on top of all of the upside down stairs, and then trace the inside of those stairs again with birch slabs. Once you reach to where the round towers are, the slabs will be going inside the little hole that was left there. Also, don't forget to do the Merlins on the front. Now we're going to do the 2 square towers in the back corners. We're going to start this tower by creating a small circle that's 4 blocks high. And I call them square because the tops will be square even though the base isn't. Just to clarify. And once we have these blocks completely placed, I'm going to cut out a 2 block space on one side for a door, and then a 3 block space on 2 other sides for windows. We do need to have one solid wall so we can put a ladder there later on. Once that is done on both sides, I'm going to add a single layer that has stairs on the edges, and this is to help break up the middle of the tower so it's not just a flat wall, similar to what we did on the front towers. Now on top of this layer, we're going to repeat the original circle, this time making it 3 blocks high. The next layer will be the roof of the tower. Whichever wall does not have the windows or the door, we're going to punch a hole out so that we can put a ladder up to the tower. Once you have this done for both towers, we can add our next wall, and hey, look at that, it's a square, and we can add some Merlins to it. And by now, you should be a pro at doing those, with the stairs facing inside and then lining the edge with slabs. Now also on the corners of these towers, we're going to be adding some additional detail, and it's very similar to what we did on the round towers. We're going to be putting sandstone slabs that connect wherever the stairs appear, and then placing 4 birch stairs on either side of the birch pillars. Once this is done, then you just need to add the ladders on the inside, and they're pretty much complete. We have one more tower to go, which is the main tower. And we're going to start with this first wall pattern, which will be 3 blocks high all the way around. Once we have those done, we're going to do another pattern that's also 3 blocks high. And the only difference here is that extra column of birch behind the gaps in the walls. With those 2 sections done, the walls should be 6 blocks high all the way around at this point. There's already a space in the front for the door, but on either side I'm going to cut out a 4 block space for windows. One more thing I'm going to add is I'm going to connect all the birch columns on the inside with one horizontal row of birch. The next layer will be the middle floor of this tower since it is a 2-story tower. And on the front and the back we will be having the stair decoration on the walls, but the rest of it will be just plain blocks. Make sure you're leaving a gap in the back because we will have a staircase that comes up to this floor. That is why I left that 4 block space in the back. We're going to have these 2 little balconies on either side, so we're going to create some Merlins on those. And we will finish those off once we finish the top part of the tower. This next wall section will be 3 blocks high all the way around. I'm leaving large gaps on either side that will be doorways to the balconies on this section. We've finally reached the top, so go ahead and add one more layer and fill in the floor. And somewhere in the front on top, I'm going to have a block open so I have room for a ladder to go up there. Now add one additional layer for the wall on the tower, and this is going to be rectangular, so if it's not a square, don't worry, because it's not supposed to be. And go ahead and place and complete your merlins on this section. Once those are done, you can also complete the merlins on the balconies, using the same technique as always. Next, we need to place some upside down stairs on the edges of the doorways, and then we can add the ladder to the top. Now on the front and the back of the tower, we're going to add slabs that connect where the stairs appear, and also add birch stairs to the tops and bottoms of all the birch pillars. Now we have some interior work to do. With that 4-block gap we have on the middle tower, I'm going to create a standard staircase that goes to the corner and then turns to the second floor. And I also cleaned it up a little bit by putting additional upside down stairs underneath. Now doing the same thing, we're going to create a staircase going down to the first floor. It's going to be a 3-block wide staircase that goes down 3 blocks towards the wall, and then it's going to turn on either side, with the last 2 stair blocks going down to the ground. Again, I'm going to cover underneath the stairs with upside down stairs just to smooth it out. The next thing we need to do is add birch fences to all the windows, and that's not just the windows on the first floor, but also make sure you're adding them to the windows in the towers. Now we can finish up the inside just a little bit more. I'm not going to get too crazy with details though. First of all, we need to replace the flooring. And I'm going to be doing polished andesite, but you could do whatever you wanted. At this point, you could just take out those walls, or you could finish them. Let's go ahead and finish them and see what it looks like. I'm just going to build them up all the way to the ceiling. Then on these larger doorways, I'm going to add upside down stairs to smooth them out. And on the other 2 doorways, it will just be a standard 2-block high doorway. Now in the front, I'm going to do the same type of pattern on this entrance. Since it's a 3-wide doorway, I'm going to have the stairs underneath on each side. Then I'm just going to add 6 birch columns for supports. I'll give you some ideas for how you could possibly decorate the interior later on, but for now I do have a couple more things to add to the outside. No sandcastle is complete without flags. I'm just going to take some dark oak fences and add a flagpole on the center block on each of the back towers. They can be as tall or as short as you want, with any color of wool that you want to use for the flag. And one more thing that I can't possibly go without is I'm going to add some vines around the edges. Not only does this add extra interest to the castle, but it also adds a pop of color, and it really just makes it look 100% better. Well guys, as I said, let me just do a quick fly around of what I've done on the interior, and I could have done a lot more than I actually showing here, but I went ahead and converted one of the rooms into a dining room. Over here we do have a little kitchen that I designed with a little hanging flower pot, and I know it's kind of small, so I was trying to do the best I could with the space I had. I also added a crown molding of sorts with the birch wood on the ceiling, and I did that in all of the rooms. This is to help with the contrast between the sandstone walls and the sandstone ceiling. On the opposite side, I converted the other room into a library of sorts with a little bit of armor along the wall. I know it's not the greatest looking, it was just something I put together real quick. And over here in the small room, I added a bedroom. I didn't spend tons of time doing the interior, but hopefully this will give you some ideas of what you could do. Well, now I can say the castle is finally finished. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like or a comment, or even consider subscribing if you want to see more tutorials. As always, suggestions for new videos are always welcome. Well guys, I'll see you later and you can enjoy your impenetrable Fortnite.